Okay, so the theme is You Ain't Heard Nothin Yet. And the name of my story is DIY Disaster. So I fancy myself a bit of a DIYer. If you don't know what that means do-it-yourselfer. So I've owned a house now for a little over 5 years, and it was a good house when I bought it. There was nothing that needed to be done. You know, in the old, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, that's not my motto. So most of everything that needed to be done with it was just cosmetic painting and things like that, things that I wanted to do to it, not things that needed to be done. And about 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to do some things in my kitchen. My kitchen had linoleum floor, and the rest of my house was hardwood. And I thought there just has to be hardwood underneath this linoleum. And I wasn't brave enough to just go and check, and I wasn't smart enough to, like roll the fridge out and look under there. So I came home from work one night and had a couple of beers, and I thought, I'm just going to pull it back right by the door between the kitchen and the dining room. So there's no turning back at that point. And thankfully, hardwoods underneath there, which was awesome. Who puts linoleum on hardwood, though? Just glue and linoleum on top of hardwood. So I did that project and cleaned up the floor, and it turned out great, and I'm really pleased with it. And the thing with that is that I tried to do it as much without chemical as possible, so it was a very slow process. And so as I was waiting for things to happen, like the glue to soften up so I could scrape more of it off, I got bored, and so I would, I think I'll change the color of the paint on the walls. And so I started to paint the walls, and then I thought, I know that the chimney runs up through the corner here, and I wonder how that would look if I exposed the chimney, and so I knocked a hole in that wall. And then I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to start knocking holes in the wall, maybe I should just take this whole wall out. Because I had this, kind of old style house that was built in 1914, and so there was just a narrow doorway between the kitchen and the dining room. And so Labor Day 2 years ago, some buddies of mine and I, we had some beers and we knocked the wall out. So that project progressed, one thing led to another, and then the countertops were coming out, and then the sink was coming out, and then I got this really killer farmhouse sink that is just enormous. It's like 40 inches wide and 18 inches deep in one of the basins. It's just fantastic. And so we put that in, and then we built some countertops, and then we did a few other things, and all along the project, we're not really cleaning much up. We're putting it in garbage bags, and some of it's going out in the yard, some of it's going down in the basement. And so this project just kept growing and evolving, and it just never got cleaned up. So, and it's still going, by the way. It's not done yet. Eventually, all of the cabinets came out, and different countertops went in, and this and that, and now the paint's changed again, and all of these things. But so anyways, this summer, I thought, I really need to clean this up. I kind of wanted to get a dog. My yard was a mess, and my house was a mess, and so I thought, I can't bring a dog into my house if I don't clean this stuff up. So I got a dumpster from the city, which is awesome if you guys have projects do this. It's fantastic. They just bring this dumpster, they park it by your house, you fill it up, and then they come and empty it. It's excellent. So I'm cleaning up my basement, and I don't know if you've lived in older houses that have unfinished basements, but for whatever reason, most unfinished basements have what I like to call a spider shower. And what a spider shower is a shower that someone put in there so that they could say they have a half bath in the basement. And the only people that use the shower are the spiders. And that's exactly how mine was, is I had a spider shower in my basement. And so I thought, well, while I'm cleaning this out, I should just take the spider shower out. I don't ever use it. It really isn't adding that much value to my house. People are going to see right through it when they see half bath and come down and see the spider shower. So I decided to take that out. So I take a day off from work not that long ago, and Laura had actually invited me to be on the radio that day with her and Tammy Swift. And we were going to talk about being introverts and extroverts and all of those kinds of fun things. And so I thought, well, I'll get the spider shower out before I go to be on the radio. No big deal. So the way the spider shower was set up is that it had PVC pipe that came down from the existing plumbing, and then it went into copper fittings on the back of the shower. And so I was really unsure how I was going to get this thing out. I kind of wanted to leave the fixture there so that if I could disconnect the fixtures from the enclosure of the shower. That way, if I wanted to put a new enclosure back in, I had the fixtures for later. Anyways, I was trying to figure out how to disconnect the fixtures from the shower, and it was all copper, and I was like, well, I can heat this up with a torch. And that I can separate the joints and things like that. And so I started doing this. I have a propane torch. I was thinking about this the other day, like, why do I have a propane torch? I have no idea why I have a propane torch, but I have one. So I use my propane torch to start softening up the joints of this copper piping and stuff like that. And the spider shower is made out of some kind of plastic or something or other. And it's starting to smoke a little bit. And I'm thinking, no big deal, whatever. I'll just get this loosened up and I'll pull it out. And then next thing you know, flames. And first I was able to just kind of blow it out. No big deal. Again, I'll just go back to work, and then more flames. Keep in mind, I run an entire college campus. I'm smart. No PhD, but I'm smart. So, of course, I have the water off in my house while I'm working on the plumbing. And thankfully, I also have a fire extinguisher. So I run upstairs, I grab the fire extinguisher, put the fire out, and that was that. Well, so and then I'm looking at how it's melted, and I pull out my utility knife, and sure enough, I can just cut right through this shower enclosure. So I cut through the shower enclosure, pull that off of there, and then the weight of the copper fittings that were on there pulled it down and snapped the pipes off. So I have no plumbing background or understanding at all. So now I've also got snapped pipes and this half-melted shower enclosure that just about burnt my house down. So, being a DIYer, what do? I pull out my phone, YouTube. So YouTube is fantastic. It gives you all kinds of instructions on how to do anything you want. Also how to fix your messes when you screw up on them. So I go through and I figure it out, and I popped plugs on the end of the tubes, shorted up, turned the water back on, no leaks, went and did the radio show, haven't had a leak since, and the projects continue. Thank you.